Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Maria, and I am Business Development Manager in Argentum, specializing in the EIC Accelerator Program. Joining me will be Ishai Shamir, our beloved CEO. This is the third session in our EIC Workshops, in which we will be exploring the full proposal stage with Ishai. At the end of the webinar, there will be a chance for asking questions via the Q&A box. Please avoid repeating questions that have been asked by other participants in order for us to address as many possible in the time we have. On our agenda today, I'll be introducing Argentum, following by a brief introduction of the new EIC structure in 2021. I will then introduce Ishai and ask him a number of questions about the full proposal submission and get some tips and pointers with the grant writer's perspective. So about Argentum. Argentum is an Israeli-based company that was established in 1999. We specialize in the EU research and innovation funding. We have 25 employees divided into 3 departments: strategy, business development, and a consulting and writing team. Our vision is to target funding opportunities and to enhance participation and success in multinational research and innovation projects, as well as in single beneficiary calls, such as the EIC. There are 3 optional funding tracks in the new EIC Accelerator. The first one is blended finance, including a non-dilutive grant of up to 2.5 million euros, and an option of assistance in finding an equity investment of up to 50 million euros, which brings us to a total maximum of 17.5 million euros. Grant only, the second option, meaning the company is only interested in receiving non-dilutive funding. The EU offers us to up to 2.5 million euros of grant money. The last option, grant first, this is a new track in 2021. It offers companies the option to begin the process of finding an investor when they are closer to market than with the investment finance option. The EIC has gone through many changes and revisions throughout the years. In 2021, the EU Commission presented the current structure, in which a proposal is divided into 2 main stages. Stage 1 is a go, no-go stage and includes an initial evaluation of the company's product, business plan, technology, etc. This is a very big advantage in relation to previous years because it allows the companies to present its technology and get feedback without the process of writing a full proposal. Stage 2, that was known in the past as the first stage, including a 30-page proposal, financial statements, full business plan for development in the EU, etc. With no further ado, I'd like to begin our Q&A stage by introducing Ishai Shamir. Ishai has an MBA with a focus in finance and a bachelor's in physics and economics from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. With over 10 years of grant writing, proposal preparation, and project management experience. Ishai has many successful proposals behind him. His areas of expertise include electronics, Internet of Things, information and communication technologies, medical devices, pre-hospital medicine, marine technologies, cybersecurity, and many more. Most importantly, he's Argentum's beloved CEO. Hello, Ishai, and welcome to our workshop.
Hello, Maria. Thank you for inviting me.
Always good to have you with us. We would start with the Q&A now. Okay, for starters, I'd like to ask you, as discussing the full proposal stage, what can a company do in the time between submitting the short proposal and waiting for a go from the EIC?
That's a very good question, because companies usually have to invest some resources in writing the full proposal, and they wouldn't want to do it at full steam before they receive the go or no go. It's a very tough decision, I think, for manager of a company, whether to go and start write a full proposal or wait for the evaluation results of the first stage. The decision is even harder when you need to when you don't know when the answer will come, because we've seen answers coming within a week and we've seen answers becoming within 2 months, and then it will be a very tough decision. What we suggest as uh, as consultants is to start with the tasks that will take you the longest and require less investment of time from you. For example, we know now that there are several other documents besides the proposals that has to be submitted with the proposal. One of them, for example, which is completely new and surprising, is an FTO analysis. An FTO analysis is means freedom to operate, and it means that you need to go to your patent attorney or patent consultant and ask him to do some sort of a freedom to operate analysis, which means a patent search, but provide his results and provide some insights about it. You don't have to submit something that detailed, but if you have it in advance, this can really make the evaluators understand how much prepared you are for the project. So this is something that is not really dependent on a company, because it's outsourced to your patent attorney, and you can start right away. Another item which does not take a lot of resource for the company is the famous letters of intent, letters of support. They're back strong, and they are not a must, but it is really recommended that you will provide at least 3 letters of support from your potential customers, from your closest collaborators, closest stakeholders that you plan to collaborate within the project. So this is another thing you can work on even before you get the approval for the first stage. Another thing you can do, and this is a good tip, is to prepare your financials. There is a file for financials, financial projections that you need to submit with the proposal. This is important, so you can go ahead and start filling that in. These are all activities that you can do even before you get the go, and you don't need to get into this deep writing process and planning process of the project. So this is what we as a consultancy company recommend for people that just submitted the first stage.
Great. I think I learned a lot, and I'm sure that our participants learned a lot from this. Another question that we have is, after a company receives a go from the evaluators, meaning passing the first stage of the EIC, what would be the next step from your perspective?
Okay, receiving a go from the EIC, it's a happy occasion. We should acknowledge that not everyone gets the go. We don't know the statistics yet for the entire program, but we know that not everyone gets the go. So you can be happy with it. The first step. But you don't need to be very, very happy, because there's a lot of work coming ahead. First thing that we recommend is to start with a kickoff meeting with your consultant and go over the requirements of the call. There are 3 main categories or sections in the proposals. You need to know the structure. You need to know the interconnections between the questions in the form. They made it a little complex, and then you need to set a clear timeline and start the process. Usually, when you work with the consultant, we will prepare for you template with the step-by-step questions on how to fill it.
Okay, great. So that helps as well. What does the work process within client involve from the point of view as a consultant?
Well, I think it must be understood that a winning proposal, and I'm not talking about good proposal. Good proposal can be written by a consultant, but a winning proposal must have the collaboration from the company. The company is the only one, or the company's management or the company's workers are the only ones that really knows their innovation, their market, the way they answer the market needs, and they are in the best position to plan a commercialization plan, to plan the work that they want to do in the project. And a consultant can do all these for you, but the evaluators know when a consultant has written the entire proposals. They know, they feel it. And when the company was involved and provided the extra thing that the evaluator didn't know before, and now he knows, that makes him more impressed with the proposal. So to go back to the beginning, we must have the collaboration of the client to make a winning proposal. I like saying all the time when people ask me how many grants have you won, I always say I never won any grant because my clients won the grant. And this is a very important thing to understand. We can add all the oomph to the proposal. We can make sure it's coherent. We can make sure it's written well. We can make sure you use the right words, but we cannot tell your story better than you with the required details. So this is a very important thing to know if you want to win a grant when you work with a consultant.
Thank you very much. What would you say is the biggest challenge in preparing for the full proposal for the EIC? Because there are many.
Yes. Well, there is, yes. The new structure of the EIC plans to make it easier for the for the company to submit. You have a very structured form of questions, step by step, that helps you in answering and providing all the information that is needed for the evaluators. But the biggest challenge is to sorry, I have a little cough. The biggest challenge is to not get lost in this mountain of questions, and do not forget your storyline. It means it is much more important to convey a coherent and consistent story than to answer all these questions exactly how they ask it, because the evaluators do not know the which questions are related to each question. They do not know that you have only 1,000 characters. Maybe they know, but they tend to forget and don't understand why you would not provide so many details. So we must always, not always, sometimes take a step back and excuse ourselves from the need to fill all the questions and see that our story is correct, because we are storytellers and we need to tell a coherent story for the evaluator to be impressed with us. And this is the role of the consultant. So as a company that applies and works with a consultant, you can be focused on filling in the questions. But us, we must make sure that we are not losing the story among all these questions.
Definitely. Another question that we would have is, what can a company gain from hiring a consultant? And I think this is something that that you emphasize, but such as Argentum, and not submitting the proposal on its own, because this is a question that I get a lot from companies that come on. I think usually first comers to this program, somebody that has tried to do this in the past knows pretty much what's the advantages, but as first comers or generally, what's the advantage from working with a consultant?
I think I can name three major advantages. First one is you must know that your consultant has probably seen um, they have some sort of a database of the responses that the evaluators usually give. We at Argentum have over 120 responses from real evaluators, knowing what they think, how they read the proposal, what are they commenting on most, what bothers them most, and we kind of understand what kind of pitfalls to get away from and what kind of aspects we should focus on better. So this is one. Next thing is about your time. We are going to save you a lot of time because there are a lot of questions and some of them can be understood in different ways, and there is some technicalities needed there in registering the company and dealing with the with all the recommendations. So we can save you a lot of time in trying to think what is this question, or registering the company, or filling in stuff that we know the answer for because we understood it from your storyline. There is a lot of time that is saved for a company when he hires a consultant. The last thing is the fact that we don't only see a lot of responses from the evaluators, we see a lot of companies, and we know what is considered an innovation, what kind of story is not very impressive, what kind of story can wow the evaluators, and we know when we need to push you for more to write a more ambitious project, and we know when we need to when you are too ambitious, and we know how to tune you in for a reliable project, of writing a reliable project, which will be ambitious enough to get the attentions of the evaluator.
Great. So I think this is something that's a question that comes a lot, and then this would be our final for this stage of the Q&A, and then we'll answer some more questions from the viewers. But what would you recommend as far as time and resources? This is one of the biggest questions I get from clients. The time and resources the company is required to allocate within the process.
Okay, so we wrote a proposal in 3 weeks, a full proposal in 3 weeks, and it was not it it was successful, but it was not very fun for it was not a lot of fun for the consultant and the company. So we do think the 2 months would be the best timeline, best window of time to write a very good proposal, a competitive proposal. Some would say it would take even 3 months, but the time in hours that that the company shall invest in it is really dependent on the stage of the company, and the EIC is kind of open for submissions from companies that are really in the beginning and not very advanced. If they reach the required TRL, this happens a lot for cybersecurity companies. This happens a lot for IoT companies. It happens a lot for software companies that they reach the TRL very fast, but they are not. The company age is very is the company is very young, and you have these companies that are after their seed investment or even after their first round investment, that are more prepared with business plans, understanding of the market, descriptions of the innovation, that they thought through all the questions in their head, and it's just a second, and it's it really depends. It will be easier for a company that is after the siege stage to prepare the proposal, because they have written materials, they have everything in line, they have the people to invest in it. But it will be much harder for the pre-seed company because the Presid they do not have all this in hand, and unless they go out and do it before they start the proposal. So it's really dependent on what you have when you start the process. So I cannot really tell how many hours.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think I always say that we do have, from all our experience, we do have an idea of how many work hours it takes to write a successful proposal. But the longer you could expand these work hours in a larger time frame, the better advantage we have in not working in a very tight schedule. So I think that sums it up pretty much. So now we'll go to the Q&A from the viewers. So here we have a question, and I think we addressed it pretty much in our further webinars. So maybe we'll do it shortly. How long time is usually takes to make the first stage application? So maybe in just a few words, because we have addressed the first stage in our previous webinars.
We did the first stage in less than a week, but again, this was not fun for anyone. Usually 2 to 3 weeks, that's enough for the first stage. And we've seen that the EIC has gotten more ready to check them. So the results coming within 2 weeks after you submit.
Great. Okay. We have another question from Hillary Cronin. What evidence do you need to show regarding potential co-investors in full proposal?
What evidence you need to show regarding potential? Actually, you are not requested to provide this information, only if you have it. So you don't. You can add it as an appendix, but in terms of evidence, you just need to tell about them and not really provide anything more than that if you have them. It's not a must. The European Union wants to bring in co-investors by himself. It will be much easier for him after the grant is approved to bring in these co-investors, but it is not a must when you start. It's not a must.
Okay, so it's good to know. We have another question from Martin Peak. 2 questions actually. The first one is what if the impact that the EU companies makes is not in Europe but outside of Europe? I think we get that a lot. Does this help? Does this not help?
Well, I really love this question. Well, yeah. The European Union, well, this grant exactly, and not all the grants of Horizon Europe, but this grant wants companies to grow. That's the main and most important thing that they want. They want you to raise your valuations. They want you to employ people. They want you to foster an ecosystem around you of service providers and etc. So this is the impact. This is the main impact that they're looking for, not the health impact or the green impact or the I don't know, not the impact that you do on your customers. So you can have your impact not in Europe, but having said that, a lot of the evaluators don't really fully understand this concept. So it will be a good advice to have some impact in Europe, to say why Europe is important for you as a target market. So officially, it should not be a problem, but in practice, you should have some impact in Europe. You should plan to work in Europe in order to be successful.
So it's a variety of things. Is service innovation, this is the second question, business model innovation also deemed as relevant for funding for the EIC?
Same answer here, actually.
Yeah.
In general, yes, but evaluators don't really appreciate it. With a little asterisk, they do mention deep tech several times in their work programs. So if you don't have any technology in your project, it will be, I guess, a very low chance of success.
Okay, so that's important to know. We have several questions from Michael, Rada. I think we're going to pick the last one because we don't have so much time anymore. Is there any form of financing that does not require money to be spent on new investment but cover old expenses? So this is also a question that we get pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know anyone like any grant like this. Usually they look forward in Horizon Europe. You actually need to wait until the project is approved, and then you need to sign a grant agreement, and only then your costs will be eligible. So it's very forward looking. Yeah, I don't see any grant that pays for stuff you already did. Actually, once in a while, the EIC would publish a prize program.
Right.
But the prize is very, very specific. It's to make, I don't remember what, it has a specific theme, a specific call. And the prize actually give you a prize on things that you've done in the past. If you installed systems and this is exactly what is the prize is looking for, then you may be eligible to win a prize for that. Prizes are nice; they are €1,000,000. Usually, sometimes they are even bigger, but they're very, very specific. So,
That's the only case of something that has been
yes,
already done. Okay, so that I think we learned a lot. I know I did, even though I've been working in the past years on the EIC and learned and this with its many changes. So that would be all for today about with the questions. So to sum things up, the points we discussed, there's some very specific documentation required for the full proposal stage. Our recommendation is to get started on it as soon as possible, as it is often takes time. A consultant who submitted many full proposals on the EIC has an idea of what the EIC is looking for in a proposal, and will we be able to fit a company's innovation into the current EIC structure. The current structure of the proposal is no longer offers the chance to write a storyline, but rather consists as many questions, one after another. It requires the methodic and organized answering of questions while not missing out on telling us a full storyline. As well, this is pretty much what we discussed. So why work with Argentum? I think this is where our input comes into mind. We at this current deadline got over 100 real responses from evaluators. This is not something that we discuss so much, but I think it's very, very important to understand that means that we know exactly what they are looking for in the proposals, get real responses from real evaluators. We also have dedicated and experienced teams from proposal preparation, working you and leading you throughout the work process. We know how to minimize efforts you're required to invest within the application process. In the June deadline, not such a long time ago, we submitted 20 applications for the second stage. So we have a lot of experience throughout the years and also this current structure of the EIC. So that's to sum everything up. We thank you for joining us today. Our marketing team will be sending follow-up emails to everyone that attended, and we can continue our communication via email and schedule a consulting call if you're interested. Have a lovely day ahead, and thank you very, very much, Ishai, for your time and elaborate answers. That would be all. Thank you.
thank you, Maria.
Okay, bye-bye.